Good morning, folks. We are out here at Lake Shenandoah. We are going to start today fishing along this bank, topwater. And as you can see, the fish are quite active. There are carp in this lake, so right now I don't know if those are carp feeding or if those are bass, but we'll find out before too long, as we're going to start with topwater. And once we fish the bank for a little bit, we will hop in the kayak and move into deeper waters and see if we can catch anything there. So this is where we are right now. Here's a map of the lake, and it shows on the map that there are 4 fish attractors. We are currently right about in this area here. We are right next to the boat ramp and dock. You see it right there. The carp continue to splash all around this shallow area. I think that's pretty cool. I have never fished so early in the morning here that you can see the carp splashing. There's a lot of fishing pressure here, so catch is not guaranteed. The fish are kind of smart, let's put it that way, experienced. But here's a list of the species that you can catch here. So the lake is very diverse. The one species that's not shown here, which you can now see very active on the lake, is carp. And we're finished bank fishing. Didn't get any bites. So we're going to go ahead and hop into the kayak and go out and see if our luck improves. Lake Shenandoah has a lot of vegetation. So in addition to fishing topwater, the other technique I use through this vegetation is I float around, look for some pockets in the vegetation, and then I will throw this worm, or drop it not far off the side of the kayak into holes within the vegetation, and I just jig it up and down, and eventually we should get a bite. So I'm going to try and demonstrate it real quick. I think I see a hole right over here, and so I'm just going to drop my worm down. It's very shallow here, so it's not going to take long, and then I'm just going to hop it up and down a few times, and if nothing bites, then I just move, find where I think another hole seems to be, and drop it down in there and give it a few hops. And the vegetation is so thick that, as you just saw, when I pull up sometimes the vegetation just grabs it. It's almost like a fish biting, but unfortunately it's not. It's just the grass. I've decided to switch baits now from that black and blue paddle tail worm to this black and blue metal flake beaver style bait because not the last time, but 2-3 months ago I caught my personal best here at Lake Shenandoah off this bait, rigged Texas style as opposed to a shaky head, but the conditions were different. It was still a little cooler, meaning the fish were more active. They may even have been in pre-spawn, no later than their spawning period. It's quite a bit warmer now. My sense is the fish are in deeper waters. They're less active, so I'm going to pitch this around and slowly hop it and drag it, see if I can get anything to bite. We are making another bait change. I pulled my eye bobber, which is a portable fish finder, out of its bag, dropped it in the water, and what I saw was that between the bank and where I am, the fish are suspended between 3 and 8 feet. There seem to be a lot of them at that depth range. And so this is a June bug colored lizard, rigged weightless, and I'm just going to toss it out and let it slowly sink on its own, and just wait for a fish to bite. You know, at some point this lizard will sink right past a fish, and if the fish are hungry, hopefully they'll grab onto it and we'll bring them into the kayak. Well, folks, finally got a fish today here at I'm trying to get it in the frame here at Lake Shenandoah. I have spent most of the morning so far fishing in most of the places I've fished before. Didn't get a bite. It's quite warm and sunny, so I decided, okay, well, let me fish along a sunny bank, a shady bank, excuse me. And I was pitching my black and blue beaver bait, or casting it under these branches here. Yeah, so and I retrieved the lure, and I noticed that one of the claws on the bait was gone. And so bass will do that when they want to bite a crawfish, and if they think the crawfish is kind of on the big side, they will bite the claws off first, and then they will eat the rest of the crawfish. And so I noticed one claw missing, even though I didn't feel the bite, and I thought, okay, let me toss it back there and see what happens. And sure enough, a very subtle tap. And I set the hook, and now I have this nice bass. I'm quite happy with it. I'm glad I caught it. I was right about it was about the time that I was ready to go and run a couple errands and then finish for the day here. So we'll go ahead and let this nice specimen go. Well, folks, black and blue, this time it's a pit boss because I didn't have another beaver bait. Under the tree line in the shade seems to be the order of the day. This is bass number 2. Quite happy with it. Let's go ahead and get it unhooked quickly and back in the water. Unfortunately, that fish fell off the hook just as I reached for it to unhook it, so I don't have any more footage of it. What I can tell you is it was a little bit smaller than the first one. The other interesting thing I'm noticing now is the fish, I'm sure it's due to the high heat of the summer, they're barely striking the lure. I didn't even know I had that fish on. I thought at first, just like when I caught my personal best around spawn, just before spawn here at this lake, I thought at first my lure was dragging through grass. Yeah, and then I felt how should I put it, the resistance didn't end, let's put it that way. So I gave my rod a little jerk, and next thing I know, there was a jerk back. And like I said, it was not a hard hit at all. I'm surprised. Kind of makes me wonder whether I've missed some fish today. I don't think so, because no one else fishing in the other areas that I have fished so far has caught anything. So I'm thinking that you know, they're under the shade. They're in the shade under the trees, simply because it is a hot day. It's the hot time of year, so the fish are looking for cooler waters. So the fish will be in one of two areas. They'll either be in the shallows right under trees and under lily pads, or they're going to be in deeper water in holes where the water's cooler. So we'll fish for a little bit longer, but soon we'll call it a day here, because the sun is shifting and the shade is slowly disappearing under the trees. So we are now inside Bait, Boats, and Bobbers, the bait shop here at Lake Shenandoah. And what I'm showing you is the photo collection of past catches through the years. If you get a chance, come to Lake Shenandoah. It's a great place to fish. The proprietors of the bait shop are wonderful people. I like them a lot. I chat with them every time I come out here. And they offer bait, snacks, they rent kayaks. So the day ended for me not long ago with 2 bass, 2 catches toward the end of the trip. I tried different spots, the lily pads, grass patches, top water. Then my eye bobber showed me fish were suspended between 3 to 8 feet. So I set up a wacky rig, jigged it around that depth, no luck. Finally made it to a shade line along some under some trees, and that turned out to be where the bass were. And they weren't hitting hard at all. In fact, they tapped so lightly I thought first I was dragging my creature baits over rocks or through a patch of grass. So that will end this segment. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And if you subscribe, please click the bell. I'm not always able to post a video every day or every week. And so if you click the bell, you won't have to constantly check my YouTube channel. Right. You will automatically receive a notification every time I post a new video. Thanks again. Have a great day.